Barber Orthopedics, and thank you so much. About 19 years ago, I got an invitation to a grand opening of the Ritz-Carlton in Boston. I thought I'd gotten Super Bowl tickets. That's the way I felt. I had the opportunity to meet this gentleman here, and he made an incredible impression on my life through the years of his teachings, his readings, his podcast. He is Mr. Gold Standard. I'd like to introduce Mr. Horst Schulze.
Wow, what a hospitality. They're waiting for me outside the building in the cold. Thank you very much. And then you guys welcoming that. What a group. And you're so young. How is that possible? Wow. That reminds me when my industry is a very young industry. You can't tell by me, but generally it's a very young industry. So when I opened every Ritz-Carlton, the first 55 Ritz-Carlton I opened the first one here, which was Bucket, was the first Ritz-Carlton. We opened that January 7, 1984. We opened that hotel. And then I was here to run the operations and build the company. And when I left the company, we were clearly, nobody would argue. We were the leading hotel company in the world at the time. But from this one up to the last one that I opened, in fact, Boston was one of the last ones I opened. I was there, did the orientation. I went to every opening, if that was Shanghai or Berlin or Osaka or Philadelphia, it doesn't matter. I was there to orient the new employees. I will come back to the word orienting and orientation. I oriented new employees. I was there part of training the new employees. And when I went, the first thing I did, I walked into the room. Mind you, there were, depends on what the hotel, there were 300, 500 or 800 employees sitting there waiting for the first day at work, waiting, and then there was kind of that this guy comes from America or from Atlanta, which is the president, CEO of the company. He created the company, he's the heart of the company, all the things that were said before I even got in. And when I walked in, I usually said, "My name is Horst Schulze. I'm very important. I'm president and CEO of the company. I'm very important." And everybody looked at me with a shock. And I said, "As a human being, so are you. There's no human being more important than the next human being, and that would be crazy. Anybody who says that is nuts. And as far as your work is concerned, well, if you don't show up the day we open the hotel, if you don't make the rooms, clean the rooms, if we don't wash the dishes, if we don't cook food, we have a disaster. If I don't come to work, nobody will even know. I won't be missed. So your job is very important." And then looked around, and there are all those young people there, just like here, all those young people, very young industry. And I look around, and usually somebody falls asleep. Now I talk for 3-4 hours, you know, but really practical. Usually somebody falls asleep, and it's always a guy. So, and I told, and when I noticed that, I made sure to tell them that. I said, "Ladies, young ladies, look around. If a guy falls asleep, stay away from him. I mean, what do you think if he falls asleep when he's 26 or 28, what do you think he's going to do by the time he's 40? So stay away from guys that fall asleep, ladies. That's the message. I just wanted to get used to my accent, that's why. So, yeah, well, let me give you my background so you can maybe relate a little bit more to the rest of the story. I mean, it's interesting, I work with all kinds of companies. By the way, I'm on a board of, for over 20 years, on the board of Cancer Treatment Centers of America. And in fact, I'm also president of the board of the Noonan Cancer Hospital. I'm also on the board of another medical group, Shen Medical. They're general practitioners clinics serving only the Medicare patients. And we figured out, we started out as a Christian family who said, well, how can we serve the poorest, the old people that are on Medicare, how can we serve them? But at the same time make money. It's a business, so we survive. And we figured out the way to make money there is by keeping them healthy. Isn't that interesting? But so I'm very involved with many medical groups. I have no idea what you're doing exactly. So, but to me, it's all the same thing. It's about people. You see, any business, it doesn't matter what it is. It really doesn't matter. We're dealing with two groups of human beings. The human being employees that work for the organization, and the human being customer, patient, patron, whatever you call them. There are two groups of people. So once I deal with two human beings, two groups of human beings, it's all the same. I have to, relative to the patient or the market, the customer, whatever you call them, relative to that, I better, if I care for them as human beings, I better understand what they want from me and deliver what they want through people in the organization, deliver them, for me ideally, I deliver them their product superior to anybody else. And that's all it is. So that's the decision I made when I went to Ritz-Carlton here. I'm going to deliver to my customer base, to hotel guests and the upper market, a product superior to anybody else. And for that, I need people, employees. So they have to be superior to everybody else. And we're going to do that. I have a great company. So I said, I just give you my background. Well, my background started in the hotel business when I was 14 years old. In fact, I told my parents when I was 11 years old, I want to work in the hotel business. They said, yeah, okay. Now, I grew up in a small town in Germany. Now, in Germany, after the war, after the big war, not the Vietnam War, not the after the war, in Germany, you know, everybody went into technical jobs. Now, I grew up in a small village. There was no hotel. I never had been in a hotel. In fact, I had never been in a restaurant. But somehow I must have read something, went to my parents, said, I want to work in a hotel business. They said, yeah, they didn't take that serious. But I said that, I kept on saying, I said that when I was 12 years old, I said when I was 13 years old. In fact, I begged and begged. My parents were nearly embarrassed. You know, technical shops, that's what you did. Well, that's what you did. If I would have said I want to be an engineer, well, that would have been it. That's honor. What I said was the opposite of honor. If I would have said I want to be a roofer, that would have been great. A carpenter, a butcher, anything. But a hotel business, waiter, cook, what is that? I insisted on it. So my parents looked around and said, how do you make sure that it's worthwhile what he does, where he does it, how you build a career like that? And they got information said, well, it's important that he works for the best hotel. So they looked, what is the best hotel in the region? Well, it was 100 kilometers away. That was very far at that time. You had to take the train, took hours to get there. But they found the job there as a busboy for me. Before I left home now, in the meantime, that is the best hotel in the region. Before I left now, my parents constantly told me, basically, no, this is a place where we could never go. This is for important ladies and gentlemen. We could never go there, now behave yourself accordingly. And but I told me that on the way there. When I arrived there, the general manager told me that. We are here, you are here to serve. Those are very important guests that are in this hotel. Very important, ladies and gentlemen. Behave yourself accordingly, don't be envious and so on. The next one I met was the maitre d' of the hotel, the head waiter of the hotel, guy in charge of food and beverage service. And he sat down with us. There were a couple of other kids starting at the same time. And said, now from tomorrow you come to work at 7 o'clock in the morning. Get set, get your uniforms, etc., etc. And you come at 7 o'clock in the morning. But don't come here to work. Come here to be excellent in what you're doing. I went over my head. I know I had to wash dishes, clean ashtrays, and clean floors and so on. What is excellent about that? But he stuck with it. And more I could see, he didn't only, and in fact he used the word excellence, the English word excellence. Telling us, talking German mostly, he spoke a number of languages. And more I looked at him and he was truly a human being of excellence. He would have, for instance, he would have never entered a restaurant without looking absolutely perfect. He would have never thought of being led, and he taught us with caring and respect, even though we were kids. And excellence was the every second word. And slowly I got what he meant with excellence. And I was, once a week, typical German upbringing, once a week I went to hotel school. And any trade, when you work as an apprentice you go once a week, you go to the trade school of the trade where you're in. So kids from around the region came to that school. After 2 years, the teacher asked us, for next week, write an essay. What you now think about your business. What do you think now about the hotel business, now that you're in it about 2 years or so? And as I went back to work, that night, I was cleaning a table in a corner when I could feel the maitre d' enter the room. When he entered the room, you could feel it, you knew it. Literally. He was an exceptional human being. He had presence that was unbelievable. And he came in and went to a table, and I saw something I had seen before, but not really, it didn't really make sense to me, but I saw it this time clear. The people that he approached were proud that he came to their table. And I could always realize every guest in here thinks he's the most important person in the room. That's a reversal. They are the ladies and gentlemen, we are the servants. And I realize every employee thinks he's the most important person in the room. That night I started writing my essay. And I named that essay, We Are Ladies and Gentlemen, serving ladies and gentlemen. We are, if we deserve to be, if we create excellence, if we are excellent in what we're doing. We are, no matter what we do in life, we are defining ourselves as people of excellence, as ladies and gentlemen. That was my essay. Now, I delivered it the following week after I delivered it, I came back into class and the whole class was packed with people. All the teachers from the school were in there, so what's going on here? And my teacher said, I have to read you something. He read my essay. It was very impactful, that's why it stayed with me. And I had an A, which I never had before. And had never had afterwards. I don't know. Really. So that impacted me. So to say, I can define myself. The first realization as a human being, as my life, I realized that I can define myself. It's not, but that's the problem today. You always everybody wants to be defined by society. That's not true, you define yourself. Simple as that, and that stuck with me. Now, I left there, I worked worked on the America line, worked in Switzerland, in Bern, in Lausanne, worked in Paris, worked in London, worked in the finest hotels in Europe. Truly the finest hotels in Europe. Plus in Paris, Savoy, London, and so on. And then somebody offered me a job to come to the United States. As I was working as a waiter, there was a guest said, "Do you want to come to America?" I said, "Oh, well, yeah, sure." If he would have said Madagascar, I would have said yes too. I was young and excited to travel and work in different places. One kind of America, so I got my papers, got my legal papers to come to America, and took the ship on which I had worked before and came to London, took a bus to Houston where I started working. It didn't work out well because it was not the class that I wanted, and went from there to San Francisco and worked in a French restaurant in the evening as a waiter, in the morning in the Hilton as a room service waiter. I'd like to pack that up now and then go on to the next level. But I worked as a room service waiter. My dream was, I'm going to go back in a year or so to Europe. But before I go back, I want to be promoted, have received a promotion in a hotel, particularly in the Hilton Hotel. Hilton was the name in the world at the time. And I knew I was the best waiter there. I had worked in the finest hotels in the world. I knew my business, I can assure you that. I knew better than anybody that worked there, probably anybody in the hotel. What goes from the left, what goes from the right, how the food goes together, all that stuff that a guest most of the time doesn't think is important. I'll get to that. So there were 4 room service supervisors, and I could see clearly they were used to for promotions or restaurant manager and so on. So I said, oh, well, I'm going to get the next promotion as room service supervisor. Again, I knew I was the best waiter, and I had another in. The manager in room service was German. So I knew I'm going to get it. That was my job. That was my job. And then I'm going to stay another year, and I'm going to go back, and I can say I was promoted. I have my language, my English is pretty good. I learned a new culture, I learned things. That will be a great kickoff for my career in Europe. And sure enough, there, one of the supervisors got promoted. I knew that's my job, but I didn't get it. Somebody else got it. And you know, that shows you how stupid management is. That went through my mind. That is what went through my mind. And then my ego was hurt. I was angry, I kept on working, and I was bitter. It took me about 3 months to admit he deserved it more. I came to work, I was young. I worked in the evening, I partied a lot. When I came to work in the morning, I wasn't only tired, you could see I was tired from the 100 yards. And sometimes 5 minutes late. And when I left, in the middle, when the manager said, Horst, do this, fold napkins or whatever we had to do in between, why me, why not the other guys? I realized it. And then I went to my little room, in the lousiest district in San Francisco, I had a little furnished room. I went to my room and talked to my maitre d'. Now he had passed on in the meantime, but I talked to him. And I said, I'm sorry, I went to work. I didn't go to work to create excellence. I went to work. And I promised him that would never, ever happen again. I have not spent more work at work, but do it excellently. And it was so clear to me, he had made it so clear, it was part of me, but I had lost it. I promised myself this time, I will not lose this again. I said with Hilton, Sean Hyatt, and Sean Hyatt as director of food and beverage operation in one of the hotels in Chicago. A year later, I was promoted to director of rooms. A year later, I was promoted to general manager. 2 years later, I was promoted to general manager in larger hotels. 2 years later, I was promoted to regional vice president over 10 hotels. 2 years later, I was promoted to vice president over 65 hotels in the United States with Hyatt. Because in each job, I created excellence. I went in deliberately, made a decision for excellence. It's a decision. Everything in life is a decision, ladies and gentlemen. If you like your job or not, it has nothing to do with the job. It has to do with your decision. But people wait for the feeling. Another thing, we respond to feeling in our society today. What do you mean feeling? What do you mean feeling? Who is in charge? You or your feeling? I had friends of mine who tell me they're getting divorced. Great friends of ours. And you know, when that happens, you lose them too. So I sit down with them for lunch and said, why? Why would you get divorced? Well, we don't feel like it anymore. I can tell you, I'm married over 40 years. I can tell you, I'm still in love. I made that decision. And I have to do something about my decision. Everything is a life decision. What you are and consequently, as a unit, what your company is your decision. And that was very clear to me by that time. And I applied it by that time, deliberately, knowingly, every day. You have to work on it, every day. And in fact, I wrote moved several times with Hyatt. Everywhere I was on my mirror where I shave in the morning was big written, excellence today. And remind myself every day. I didn't want to forget it again. That's why I wrote the book Excellence. That's why I named the book Excellence. Wins. Because with that excellence, I won. Had a career. No arguing. Number one in the hotel business. No arguing that every one of our hotels was the most successful wherever they opened up. Wherever we opened up, it doesn't matter what country. Number one in Japan, number one in China, number one in Germany. It doesn't matter where. Had nothing to do with culture. Had to do with the decision of creating excellence. And I will touch more on that and how. But it's simple. It's a decision. Excellence is a decision. Being a bum is also a decision. Simple as that. It's a sad thing that people constantly talk and respond to their feelings. Why control your feelings? Be in charge of your feelings. That was my decision. I'm in charge of my feelings. And when I didn't like to go to work in the morning, I felt sour. I made a decision to feel good, go to work, to love the people that I work with. Was my decision. I didn't wait for it. If they like it or not, they're my friends. I made a decision to go to work for two reasons. To create excellence and to be with my friends. If they like it or not, they're my friends. Every one of them. Every one of them. And I look forward to see him. And I love to see him. It doesn't matter if that was the general manager, the vice president, or the dishwasher. That was a decision. With that attitude, working in Chicago for Hyatt, I got a telephone call that there is a new hotel company potentially to be created. People that were developers, construction, and financial people were looking for somebody. They were developing two hotels. They were looking for somebody to run that company, that part of the companies, that other companies. I didn't really want to go because I loved Chicago, I loved the people I was with, had an unbelievable career with Hyatt. In the meantime, as I said, I was charged food and beverage operations, United States, 65 hotels. But they told me I could do what I want operationally. But I said, I'm not interested. But after I spoke to them, I said to my wife, you know, if I would take that job, here's what I would do. I would create the finest hotel company, and here's what I would do, that and so on. So I started kind of dreaming what I would do if I would start a new hotel company with a company that told me I can do what I want with it. That's what I would do. And they called again, and they said, no, don't call me anymore. I'm not interested. But I told my wife, you really, because here's what, and I told her, well, I started to tell her a dream that I had. And she, I'm not selling anything here, don't misunderstand me. She started praying for me that a door would open, a door would close. I went to work and I told them, they called me again, I told them, do not call me again, you're bothering me now. I don't want you to call me again. I'm not going to talk to you. That's it. And I went to work, and something happened that was very unethical with the person that I reported to. I had a hard time to think, how can I keep on working for him? When they came home, they called again and accepted the job and accepted to talk the job and moved to Atlanta with a dream. I came here for a dream, that's all, for a vision. My vision was to create the finest hotel company in the world. You see, vision is purpose in life. Don't answer me, what's your purpose? What's your individual purpose? Who do you want to be 5 years from now? Do you have a vision? Well, even the Bible says people will perish without purpose. Aristotle said, you cannot be fulfilled in life unless you have purpose and you belong. Every thinker in between, even Hegel and etc., said the same thing. Adam Smith, who wrote Wealth of Nations, after which every business, is run. Anybody who went to business school now has read Adam Smith. Adam Smith said, people cannot relate to orders and direction. But that's what we still do, we give orders and direction. People can only relate to objective, meaning vision, purpose, and motive. And all that was clear to me when I moved to Atlanta. Now, again, I had a dream. And then I started hiring people, the first people, eventually became vice president and so on, to help me run the company for that first hotel, which was Bucket, which is not Ritz-Carlton anymore. When you took the name off, that was like burning my birth certificate. I'm not Ritz-Carlton anymore anyway. So, came with that thought. I'm going to create a finance hotel company. Be with me here. So, and I hired people and said, here's, join me to create the finest hotel company in the world. Well, we don't even have a hotel yet. It doesn't matter. Join me for that reason only, for a purpose. And then I made it very clear, from now on we hire people for a purpose. We don't hire people for function anymore. We hire people to join us. So I had to sit down and say, is our purpose, is our dream, our vision of becoming the absolute leader in the hotel business in the world, is it good for all concerned? So we agonized. I didn't just say, yeah, oh yeah, sure it is. No, we agonized. Is it good for the investor? It has to be good for the investors, otherwise we won't be there. And no business will be there unless the investment works, obviously. We need investors. So is our vision good for the investor? And after talking and discussing it and questioning it, we said yes. The next thing is it good for the customer? Is it this one group I have to look at? Is it good for the customer? And the decision was clearly, yes, it is good for the customer. If it's the best, it is good. We discussed it. We didn't just set that short. It was a whole day agonizing discussion and arguments. Next, is it good for every employee? Yeah, sure. The answer was yes. The next for us was, is it good for society as a whole? So the answer was yes too. In that moment, the vision, understanding very clear, the vision was good for all concerned, all that we would touch as a company. In that moment, I was totally morally in the corner, because I now had to do this. I could not make any more excuses. I had to commit to the vision. That's the model of leadership, having a vision and being committed to it. The next part of that model is to implement the steps that makes you what you want to be. So we start to implement those steps. What do we have to do? How can they implement the steps what steps do we have to implement to be the #1 company in our business in the world? I have to go to the customer. Because I have to be then, if I want to be the best in the world, I have to be superior to the competition with my customer. So we start to make surveys of what our customer really wants from us. What does this market, by market segment? And there's nothing right or wrong if you do luxury or do red roof inn, it doesn't matter. As long as you do for your market segment, for your customer, the absolutely best, superior to the competition. So we looked at it, what do they really want from us? So we made studies. I didn't just ask, I didn't just guess, I didn't think, here is what I think, even though I have been working in the business for many, many years in the meantime. No, what do they really think? We hired word analysts to sit by when we talked to them. So the word analysts didn't listen to what they said, but looked because how they used their words, what they really meant. And one thing that came out that was absolutely fascinating. To me, that was the most fascinating thing. I never had any inkling about that. As many years I worked in the hotel business with the best known people in my business. Nobody had an inkling about that. And came out, what they wanted, what you want, is always the same no matter what you buy. No matter what you buy. If you buy a car, medical treatment, hotel business, legal treatment, you buy a television, you buy a bottle of water, you have the same subconscious expectation as to what you want. The expectation that you have when you buy anything, it doesn't matter, Coca-Cola, doesn't matter, you have the same expectation. So what is that? Number one, you want to defrag the item that you buy or the service that you get, you want it to be defect-free. Take a bottle of water. You buy a bottle of water, you don't want anything to swim in there. It's a subconscious expectation. Watch out. The subconscious is stronger than the conscious. So the subconscious expectation, what I'm buying, I want it to work. That's what you expect. You don't say that, you don't think about it, but that is the subconscious expectation. Number two, what you expect is that you get it timely. That you get it when you want it. You don't want to stay there and wait for that bottle of water, you want it now. You want it when you want it. And timeliness is of extremely importance. It is extremely important. Everything to be done timely. Timely answering the telephone, timely getting to see the doctor, time not what you said before, here when you sit there, I experienced that just recently, please forgive me, I have a little cold too, so we didn't get together last week.
Yeah, sorry.
I had it when I came in.
Yeah.
You know, when you go to the doctor, I just went with dermatologist. Okay, come in, finally you get cold. You're so happy that you get cold. You got in the room and take off your clothes. And you sit there. It's ludicrous. It's insulting. It's rude. It's pathetic. Particularly when I know timeliness is unbelievably important. For example, I know, thank you. I know that when we opened the First Ritz-Carlton, when we opened the First Ritz-Carlton Hotel, we knew that during the heavy check-in period, which was between about 5:30 and 7 in the evening, business travelers, if we had a line on the front desk, if they didn't wait longer than 4 minutes, they were okay. So after 2 minutes, we went out with soft drinks and talked to them, so they wouldn't notice that we went into 4 minutes. We knew that. We know, listen to me, we know today 20 seconds is okay. The same way that 4 minutes was 30 years ago is now 20 seconds. Timeliness, know it. You have to create processes, you have to understand. Nobody wants to wait. So what do they want when they buy a bottle of water? Or anything else, and we found that is number one, no defect, number two, timeliness. And what else do you want when you buy a bottle of water? You want, listen to me, you want the people who give it to you to be nice to you. It's called service. You want the people who give it to you to be nice to you. And here's the crazy thing. This affects. Look, guys, I work with behavioral analysts, I work with scientists, and we started this. If you think it's different with you, you're wrong. Caring. They want the people who give, you want the people who give you that, want to be nice, to care. Guess what? The caring piece is the greatest driver of customer satisfaction. Wow. The very thing that doesn't cost anything, that only calls for a decent human being, that's the one that really was most important to my customer. I said, oh, wow. That means I have to make sure I hire people who care. That's all it meant. I said, you must be kidding me. That's all? And every study showed, yes, this is it. And this is, what a secret. What a ridiculous secret. So what did we do? We created processes and profiles for employees. But now let's look at that for a moment. You know how that works in your business. I cannot tell you how it works with you. What your patient, I can tell you though, they want that somebody cares. They want timeliness. And of course they want the product, the treatment to be right, without mistake. That's what they want. But I tell you something, in your business, working with hospitals and so for a long time, the patient has no idea about the medical treatment they're getting. The whole judgment about you is the two other things. Now, of course, if they couldn't walk before and now they can walk or whatever, obviously that helps. But the fact is, they don't really know if you treat them right or not. In many other businesses, they know. They know in my business, they know if the product is right, they know if the room is dirty, or if it is totally green, etc., etc. In your business, really, that stuff goes also around it. In your business, really, the product, they don't understand. They understand the caring. And they judge you by the caring, I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I see all the studies that I met with the medical groups that I'm involved in. That's it. And that caring is called service. It's called service. So, and many people say, we are in the service business. A store is in the service business. They don't produce anything. They're in the service business. The hotel business, restaurants, they're in the service business. Banks are in the service business. Everybody's in the product. They're not producing anything. They're enhancing their product with service. So what is service? What is service? Service, let's define it. Service starts the instant you make contact with the customer. It starts that instant when you make contact with the customer. It doesn't start a fraction of a second later. It starts that instant. So in other words, it starts with a great greeting or with a welcome. Good morning, welcome. In fact, we teach that within 9 feet, no matter what you're doing, you look the customer in the eyes and say, welcome, good afternoon, good morning, or whatever. And in fact, don't say hi. Why do we say don't say hi? The moment when I say hi, I'm saying, I'm equal with you. We are buddies. I'm equal. Hey, hi. But if I'm saying, good morning, sir, how are you today? I'm saying, I respect you. You're important. And incidentally, I'm professional. I'm giving two messages that moment. And people want to deal with professionals. So I want to tell them, I am professional. By acting right, behaving right, by showing up right. And having a surrounding that is proper and all professional. And I want to tell them, why do I want to be sure? Why do I want to tell them that I'm professional? Because I want them to trust me. I want to trust you. The first step of service is welcome. Welcome. Good morning. I'm here for you. And that welcome has to be done in a way where it clearly says, I am here for you. I care for you. You can trust me. That's how well it has to be. Look in them in the eyes. And that's what we teach. Number 2 in service. That's the first step of service. The second step of service is complying to the customer's wishes. In that moment, after you say hello, it's not about you anymore. It's not about you. It's not about your company. It's about them. It's about them. I'm here for you, and I'm gonna now have to make a decision in my business, what is I know is very best for you. That has to be my decision. It's all about you, the customer. It's not about the employee anymore. That's why we're in business, about the customer. It's all about them. That is compliance. So the first step is welcome. The second step is complying to the wishes of the customer and do the very best for that customer. And the third step of service is farewell. Thank you for allowing us to serve you. I appreciate that you give me the trust to serve you. I will take care of you. I respect you. That's service. 1, 2, 3. It happens in hotel business. It happens constantly. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Somebody walks by you in the corridor, and you step up. Someone said, "Good morning, man. Have a nice day today." You said you did the same thing. Now you greeted and complied at the same time. You stepped away. You complied for that second. And of course, you comply in many other ways. You comply. Welcome, comply, farewell. That is service. And what is the expectation of the customer? I told you. No defect, timeliness, and caring. That's the expectation. So let's experience that in a totally different business. I tell you a story now that I have told about 3,000 times by now. Because I told it once, because it just happened. Next time I made a speech, somebody came to me, you told that story. Will you tell it again? And I heard it over and over again. Nobody told me that today, but now I know it's very popular when I tell it, so I tell it again. True story. Years ago, I was invited to speak to, like now with you, to a large bank in Chicago. I knew the bank well. And in fact, I knew them. I had never been in their bank, but I knew them well because they advertised their great service on the radio station I have set in my car. They asked me to talk to their manager. They said there are 300 managers, customer satisfaction, customer service, and so on. Great. So the day before I said I better go into the bank because I've never been in it, because tomorrow morning somebody's bound to say, "Have you been in our bank?" I have to say, "No," that will be embarrassing. So sure enough, I drove over and walked into the bank. Now be with me here for a moment. Big building. I mean, impressive, big, old, stately building. You walk in, wow, stained glass windows all the way, big, huge, big marble columns, marble floor. You can feel the money all around you somehow, probably stuffed in the columns. And you can feel it. It is a very rich feeling. And all the way over there, a long mahogany counter, the tellers. And in front of it, a maze. Now, let me stop here and remind you. Welcome, comply, farewell. Okay. No defect, remember? No defect, timeliness, and caring. So I'm in a maze now. Let's experience that. And it went pretty fast. There were a lot of people from, but so many tellers went pretty, and I'm number one. And I'm looking left. I don't know why. Maybe there was a pretty teller over there, so I looked left. And somebody on the right screamed, "Next!" Next was the first step of service to them. I got over to her teller. Was a woman. Men in service are worse than women, I can tell you that. That's a fact. I get to her teller. Was a lady. She looked down for a second. I see her face. I don't know her, she doesn't know me, obviously. But when she looked up, it was totally clear that she hated me. And she said, "Yes, just want to change $50. She sighed. 10, 20, 40, 45, 50, next! I take my change, I look, no defect. The product was not defect free. The timing was excellent. The service, the caring was non-existent. What could she have done? She could have said, the next gentleman, please. Come to her and said, welcome, sir, how may I help you? Just want to change $50. That's my pleasure. 10:45:50. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for coming by. Okay. Doesn't cost more. Only, instead of just functioning, she became somewhat of a human being of excellence. That's all. But she could have done one more thing. Now bear with me, because that's important. She could have said, the next gentleman, please. I come to her talents and she said, welcome, Mr. Schulze. Personalized her attention to me. Call me by name. Now, how would you know that? Let's not figure that out now. I tell you that when you check into our hotel, we have never seen you before, we call you by name. We have tricks to know that. Welcome, Mr. Schulze. Personalized. And then I said, one check, how may I help you? Just change $50. 10, 20, 45. And here are 5 coins, because I know you collect coins. Individualized. I can tell you unequivocally, that is the higher level of service. Service without defect, timeliness, caring, personalized and individualized. And I can tell you, that will be the demand more and more. That is luxury today. Luxury, when we open the Ritz-Carlton Hotel with chandeliers and marble and all that stuff. Luxury today is the customer says, the up customer said, do it my way. And by the way, there's a lot of talk about the millennials, and I can see that many of you are. But what's the difference with the millennials? The millennials say, do it my way. And they say, by the way, what's in it for me? Oh, tell them. Do it my way. Okay, I can tell you that will be more and more difficult. I can tell you your customers, your patients, whatever, they more and more will say, it wants individualized attention. They more and more will want to be explained what's happening. They more and more want to know. They say, do it my way. Do it my way. That will be difficult for many businesses. Think about we go for Chick-fil-A and everything counts on fast there, or in McDonald's, wherever, everything counts on fast there. And suddenly the millennials will come and say, I want 3 slices of cucumber on it. And I want a half a slice tomato. Do it my way, individualized. But that is it. They want individualized service. That's it. That's the next level of excellence in service. So we must be prepared for it. So if we would have done that, if she would have done that, now here is the key. Please listen. You see, what happened here? I explained 3 levels of service. 1, regular service, which happens everywhere. Next one, some excellent and some truly excellent. But what do you want to accomplish with your service? What do you really want to accomplish? What is a great company? What is a great organization? A great organization does 4 things. Number 1, they keep the customers that they have. They don't lose customers. That has to be the objective of every single employee. If you look, after I built Ritz-Carlton, I retired, I started another company, Capella Hotel Company, which I sold 2 years ago, and ran the operation until a couple of months ago. Capella Hotels are ultra-luxury hotels. Ultra luxury. What does that mean? For example, in Singapore, you all have seen a Capella Hotel. You all watch TV, you all saw Trump meeting Kim from Korea. That was in our Capella Hotel in Singapore. Now, the Ritz-Carlton is a great hotel. I opened it, I planned it, it's a great hotel. 10 minutes away from the Capella Hotel. The Ritz-Carlton runs an average nightly rate of $400 a night. We run $1,200 a night. So it's ultra luxury. That's what we're doing. If you would walk into that hotel and walk into the kitchen all the way over and see the pot washer or any other employee, ask them, what's your objective here? They will say, my objective here is to convince the guest to want to come back by what I'm doing. That's the objective that should be the objective of every single employee, to convince every guest or every patient, whatever you call them, to want to come back and want to recommend you. We measure that every day, by the way. I know every day, I'm retired, I know every day how many percent of the guests say, I want to come back and want to recommend you? Study every day. If not 92% said so, I interfered. So that's it. So why is it so important? It's so important. You see, there are 3 types of customers or patients. When I use customer or anything, I mean whatever you call them. There are 3 types. There are the dissatisfied ones. Some of them are dissatisfied. Guess what? Dissatisfied customers become terrorists against your organization. Let's go back to the bank teller in Chicago. You see, she made me dissatisfied. I made in every speech afterwards, I told the story about a bank. In fact, the first 10 years I mentioned their name. But listen careful. She defined, this one teller defines the bank. And she defined every one of her fellow workers as being lousy. That's what I said, there's a lousy bank. In other words, I talked about the people in that bank. That's how it goes. Don't allow anybody to define you as negative, as bad. It is totally essential to create a right image in life. You see, define yourself. It's essential. I went to a reception for 5-star rewards for the general managers of that received the 5-star award for that year by Forbes magazine. And you know, there's a big reception. The people, the leading hoteliers from the whole world come there, and everybody gets their reward of being a 5-star. When you read sometimes 6 or 7-star, there is no such thing. 5-star is the maximum. If it is 6, they gave it then 6 to themselves. I mean, usually they're not even 5-star, or say they're 7-star. But anyway, they were the 5-star reception was there. All the elite of the hotel business in the world is there. I was a guest, that's all. And the Forbes guy gets up saying, and just want you to know, Horst Schulze is in the room. And everybody got up and applauded. Did they applaud me? No. They applauded the image of Ritz-Carlton. That's what they applauded. See, image is so much. But what about our employees? Well, I can tell you unequivocally, even today still, when a Ritz-Carlton employee looks for a job and the 100 others apply, the Ritz-Carlton employee gets it because of the image of Ritz-Carlton, which was created by bellboy and bellman and doorman and cooks and so on. So, what image are you creating for yourself? That's a question. So there are 3 types of customers. Back to that. The dissatisfied customers, the terrorists. Then the dissatisfied customers. They're satisfied. But if next door they offer a better deal, that's where they're going to go. And then there are the loyal customers. They're saying, I want to work with you. And tell others they want to work with you. They're the loyal customers. Why are they loyal? What is loyalty? Customer loyalty. Watch out. Customer loyalty is nothing more, but they have developed trust in you. And trust is created by human beings, not by the surrounding. The surrounding has to help to impact their thinking, but the trust is created by the human contact that you're going to have. So that's what you want. You want ambassadors. The customer, the patient, the guest that becomes loyal, trusts you, they become ambassadors for your company. The one that are dissatisfied become terrorists. That's a fact. So I have obviously now, that means as an organization, and every single person and every activity in an organization has to be sure that it creates trust. But again, it is people, and that was the whole thinking when we started Ritz-Carlton. That's how we started Ritz-Carlton, think about it. Then we said, yeah, but I have to have, that means this group of employees, now I know what this group over here wants. That's what we started. That's what they want. The human beings, that's what those human beings want. How do I have human beings to understand that, who are smart enough to do that? Because that's all it is. You have to be smart enough to do that. So we said, I started to create a selection process. Rather than hiring, I said, we have to select people. So we have people who can do that, who are smart enough to do that, or who want to do that, who have a heart to do this. So we started a selection process which I created, which was totally pathetically stupid. And so, but I found out about a company who could help us. So I started working with a company named Talent Plus in Lincoln, Nebraska, to develop for each job category that we have a profile. That is the profile of that job and the talent that's needed in this particular job category, so that I know, at least, so I know, because I know if I'm hiring people that are only 5% better than the competition, I'm going to beat them. I'm going to beat them. I'm going to win. So I started to put that investment into the company to start to create those profiles, hiring and selecting against this profile. So our first process to accomplish what we want to accomplish was selection of employees. The next thing was orientation of employees. And that is a key element that is absolutely key. What happens usually in orientation? Everywhere. I see it everywhere. The new Veda, whatever the job comes in, Bill, the new Veda comes in, and the boss says, okay, Bill, we're a team here. We work together. He makes this typical everywhere team speech. The team speech, we're a team. Well, what is a team? A team is a group of people who have a common goal and help each other toward that goal. Help each other toward a goal. That's why it's so important to have a purpose. We hired people for purpose. And we then said, here is a goal, if we're a team here without giving them a goal. That's what happens. Here a team, here, we're a team, here a team. And then we say, Bill, after we make a team speech, work with Susie over here. She knows the ropes. Now you're not in a rope business, but somehow she knows ropes. And we turn them over to Susie. And now Bill is doing, Susie works here 9 months as a waitress. She knows the ropes. Bill, go with her. On the way to the kitchen, Susie says this company sucks. That's his orientation. What do we expect to happen now? What do we expect to happen after that? Instead of what we do, what we did, we can't do that. The first day of orientation, the first day of orientation, we tell them who we are. As I said, in the new hotels or takeover hotels, I did the orientation. And I was there and said, here's who we are. I'm inviting you to participate. Don't work here. Join us. Join our dream. Join a purpose. I have the moral obligation to give you a purpose. Because purpose, as we said before, it fulfills people. Here's our purpose. We want to be the finest in the world. And here's our motive for that purpose. If we're the finest in the world, we have opportunity. We will grow. That means you have opportunity as an employee. We will make more money. That means you will make more money. You have, etc., etc. We will be honored. That means you will be honored. We will be recognized. That means you will be recognized. All that was clear. So our so orientation, by the way, has to happen the first day of work. We take that so serious that if we need a certain job to be filled, and we find an ideal candidate, we hire that candidate, but if our orientation day is in 2 weeks, we put you on the payroll, but you cannot come to work until orientation day. Because that orientation day is essential. Because here's the thing. I told you I work with all kinds of behavioral analysts and so on and so on. The behavioral analysts tell you, much of your work that you do, much of everything you do is your behavior. And behavior cannot be taught after you're 16 years old. It is set. It cannot be taught anymore after you're 16 years old, unless there is a significant emotional event in your life. And that's it. And the first day of work is a significant emotional event. So I want to be sure you come in and we teach you who we are, what behavior is needed to accomplish what we are. We do that the first day. The second day, in the meantime, we developed, I'm building this council, we developed 20 things. If we do those 20 things superior to the competition, we will be an organization that is superior. And for that, of course, I needed the right employees. That's what I'm talking about. So we developed that. So the first day, number one, we selected you. Then we orient you. And part of the orientation is to tell you who we are. Here's our soul, here's our thinking, here's our dreams. Here's how, what our motives is, here's how you connect to those motives. So join us. Don't work here, join us. Let's have fun creating, of course, it's not about the function. But the function has to be fulfilled better than the competition too. But it's not about, and I don't hire you for function. You see, the chair on which you're sitting right now is fulfilling a function. We're dealing about human beings. So I want you to work as a human being with us. I want you to be smart enough to understand that. And smart enough to understand if we help each other toward our objective, by helping each other to take care of this other group of people, customers, we will all be benefiting dramatically. All that is discussed the first day. The second day we discussed, in the meantime, we have developed 20 things that we know. If we do those 20 things, we will be superior to the competition. They're written down, those 20 things. When I did that the first time, people laughed. Today, nearly everybody does it. 20 things. If we do those 20 things, superior to the competition, we will will benefit dramatically. We will be the best in the world. We teach those 20 things the next day. And then we work more on orientation, and from the fourth day on, we teach them the function. Whatever they're there for. Room service, front desk, and so on. That's how we guided it in. And then what we do is, those are 20 points. They're very important. We repeat one point every day. You cannot go to work today. You will hear the same, you will hear maybe today. Every hotel is the same point is being taught today. Every department, you cannot escape it, including the corporate office. When I was running, including me, we were discussing that one point of the day, maybe point 11. If you get a complaint, you own it. That means if any employee, if somebody complains to you, it's not them, you own the complaint. If you're the bus boy, and there's a guest that complains comes in the morning, and the bus boy says, you're the bus boy, and you say, good morning, sir. I hope you have a nice day in our hotel. And the guest says, well, no, I don't. I didn't, because my TV changer didn't work. In that moment, the bus boy owns the TV changer. It's not to say, oh, I tell them it happened before. No, please forgive me. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. In fact, I feel so bad, I will buy you breakfast. Our employees empowered to do that. So now, what happened here? Why do we do that? Because you see, there was a guest who potentially became a terrorist. In that moment, we moved him to be an ambassador. That's what I want to do. Don't lose a customer. But of course, I knew the average age of our guests. The average age was mid-30s. They could potentially travel another 40 years. They potentially were worth each one $200,000. So why wouldn't I move heaven and earth to keep them? Just pure business. But not only that, we want them to go out and talk positive because we want to have the image to be the best in the world. And that's how we structure it. So that's being discussed today. Number 11. By the way, 20 days from now it will be discussed again. And 20 days later it will be discussed again. Not with non-stop, forever. That will be discussed. So don't forget. So for a while, of course, the managers didn't do it all of a sudden. Why not? Well, everybody knows it. Do you know Coca-Cola? Well, yeah. I said, so why do they spend billions to advertise? They know that you know it, to keep it front of mind. And I want to keep this front of mind. And then I made it clear. Finally, I had to make it clear because I didn't do it. I had to make it clear, if you don't do it, I fire you. General manager, you're fired. You see, I have to fire too. Because I am morally obligated to accomplish the vision that I've set, because the vision is good for all concerned. That means, as a leader, I have no right to compromise for any individual, for anybody. I have no right. Because the moment when I compromise it, because somebody is not doing it, in that moment I'm going against every employee, against investors, against the customer, against society as a whole. I have no right. If I have a great vision, it establishes clearly my moral responsibilities and what I have to do. That's how we built Ritz-Carlton and build it up. And mind you, does it work? There's not one hotel we opened that didn't become the leader in the market segment. In every country, we were the leader. I retired after 20 years. My wife, I moved here, it didn't work well in the first couple of years, by the way. As I said, my wife was praying on it, and it didn't work well, so the first couple of years I said, oh my gosh, I made a big mistake. And I didn't tell my wife because she had a baby and she was new, and I didn't tell her. But finally I thought I had to tell her because this was not working right. So I went to her and said, you know, I have to tell you something, Sherry. We made a mistake moving here. But having a good partner, Sherry said, well, why would you argue with God? We prayed on it, and maybe, and if it doesn't work, there's a different thing. It's good that we moved. And when I, done 20 years later, I retired and had become the #1 company in the world. I retired on a Friday. My wife and kids picked me up in the office. It was time to leave. I traveled 250 days a year. Had four daughters that were growing up basically without me. We worked very hard to make this work, Sharon and I, but it was really time by now. My wife convinced me it's time to retire. I was in the 60s, nearly 65, so all right. They picked me up, and of course, tears. I drank a glass champagne in the office and went home. And on a Friday, and on Monday I went to my wife and said, I'm going to look for an office in Buckhead. She said, why? Why do you look for an office? He said, because I'm going to start another hotel company. And she said, so you retired? So you retired for a weekend? But I said, well, just a very little bit, because I was dreaming, in the weekend I was dreaming. There is another dimension that happened in the meantime. In the meantime, the customer had changed. And I knew that. I looked at all the studies that kept on going. Luxury was breaking down into two categories, affordable luxury and ultra luxury. It's no different than 20 years ago at that time when that was happening. It's not 20 quite. But if you would have asked anybody then what is the luxury car, 99% would have said Mercedes-Benz. Today, the percentage says Bentley. Same thing with it. And so I wanted to create it. There aren't that type ultra luxury hotels in the world, individuals. I wanted to create the first hotel company in that ultra luxury category. And so we did. That's Capella, which is an exceptional small company. We have no hotels in the US. We have one in Europe and the rest are in Asia. But it's growing the company, and it will be. You will see. I'm trusting that they will continue what has been built. You will see that will be the name. What do we do different? Well, the difference that we're doing, that's what I want to drive home to you, is differentiation. Individualization. Individualization is all. We really look now. For that, I couldn't build hotels like here, like 600 rooms and so on. You can only build 100 rooms for that, so it can individualize. So there's no check-in time or no check-out time. We call every reservation we can call. We call back and say, what do you want from us? When you come to Singapore, what would you like? Do you have a diet? Do you have an allergy? Do you want us to make any arrangements for you before you come? Anything you want. No check-in time, no check-out time, no hours of operation. It's all up to you. So total individualization, because I know unequivocally that demand is growing dramatically, and we better be aware of it. Any business, we better be aware of it. Now, one thing I told during orientation, every employee, one thing that I shared, that I also addressed during the orientation the first day, after talking about who we are as a company, what is the customer, I aligned everybody to the company thinking and to the expectation of the customer. That's alignment. When every employee knows where's the company going, and what does the company think, and what does the customer expect, then you are aligned. There's a lot of word about alignment today. Most people are not aligned. And then I shared with them also, what does it mean to have a wonderful, great work environment? Because everybody wants to have a great work environment. A very totally misunderstood word, by the way. The work environment is created by the people in the environment. That means by everyone. And if you want a great work environment, you're responsible for your work environment. If Bill comes to work one more time, Bill comes to work and walks by Susie and says, morning, Susie will most likely say, morning. But if you want a great work environment, Bill, you come in and say, good morning, Susie, how are you today? And Susie will say, But if you do it a few times, every time you see her, pretty soon she will say, good morning, Bill, nice to see you too. Create your own one. You're responsible for your work environment. It's so ludicrous. Are thinking human beings. Thinking human beings. To think that somebody in an office can create a work environment is ludicrous. They can support it. I can help you, but I'm in Atlanta and we're in Shanghai. I can't do anything about work environment, but I can expect, I can help you, I can support you, I can tell the general manager, he has to respect you as human beings, etc. But the work environment is created by you. Be smart. And I can tell you unequivocally, after we went into a careful selection program to an outside company and made sure that our employees had the talent to do their particular job, not the experience, not the college, the talent, the inner talent to care and so on, but also the intellect to understand that if you work together as a team, what is a team? A team is a group of people who support and helps each other toward a common goal. If that is understood, a company cannot help but be totally successful. Cannot help it. It's impossible then to fail. It's impossible to fail. That's why at the same time, your leadership cannot compromise, cannot allow negativism to live in an organization. Has to go away. And the overall understanding has to be we are all responsible. Anybody, the accountant, the financial accountant in an office is responsible to make sure that the customer wants to come back. By serving the internal service, by giving each other lateral service and helping each other. We call that lateral service. We make sure that everybody serves each other in the organization. We went to our fancy, sensitive European chefs. They are. That's it. And said, okay, we want you to sit down and look the waiter in the eye and say, you're my customer, how can I serve you better? So that if the work flowed and respect, they first night and after a while they enjoy doing it. How can I serve you better? Did I serve you fine today? Because so that the work flows right, everything flows right. The decision has to be overcoming our little egos and insecurities. Egos really come from insecurities. Have we overcome it, knowing full well if we do and work together, we will dramatically benefit together. You see, and back to the model of leadership. The vision starts with a vision. It starts with a dream. You have to lead somewhere. Leadership means there has to be a destination. That's your vision. Hopefully you have that for your own lives. That's your vision. And then you have to, but it can be a pipeline. You have to be committed to it, totally committed. Then you have to initiate the steps to take you there. And then you have to keep focus on it. And that's where people break down. Everywhere. Now I'll give you very fast before I come to the end on the question and answers. The breakdown in companies and individuals is focus. Because of our insecurities, we all have it, we focus on excuses pretty soon rather than on the vision. That happens with everything. I'm going to tell you a little story. When I worked, had 65 hotels I had. And I want to make it my mission to know who are the leaders and of the general managers. Each hotel has a general manager. A general manager is pretty much of a big shot. You understand? He runs a big hotel. He's well known in the community. He makes a lot of money. He's honored a lot. 65 of them. And I said, who are the leaders and who are the managers? So I give you an example of manager and leader. It's pretty well true, and again, of course, I condense it. So I'm going to Milwaukee to visit the hotel in Milwaukee. The hotel was a year old. Now, a general manager in a hotel in the business, they get moved every 4 or 5 years to another hotel. I come, the general manager picks me up at the airport with a limousine, big deal, the corporate guy comes, big deal, no, Mr. Schulze, we are so glad you're visiting, which is, of course, is a lie, they're glad that I'm leaving again, and we're so glad you're visiting again, and on the way there, we're conversing, and it was a long conversation, but let me pull a few things out. I said, so, hey, now that you're here, how do you like Milwaukee? Oh, Horst, it's a hick town. It's just a real hick town. I can't wait to get out of here. Wow, okay. How about the employees here? How about the employees? He said, no service culture. Terrible, redneck people. No service culture. Wow. So what have you planned? Vision. What have you planned for your hotel? Where will it be a year from now or 2 years from now? What's your thought? If I had a bigger ballroom, if my restaurant would not be on the second floor but on the street level, I could do all kinds of things. And if I had this and the other, you see, what did he do? He didn't even go to a vision. He went to an excuse already. 2 days later, I'm going to Columbus, Ohio. There's another hotel that was built by the same architect, opened the same time than Milwaukee. The general manager picks me up at the airport. It's so great to have you visit. We're all looking forward to see you. I know that's a lie too. So they can corporate. Nobody wants corporate office to visit. Come on. So anyway, so now that you're here in Columbus, it's a very similar city to Milwaukee, by the way. Now also blue-collar city. Now that you're here in Columbus, what do you think? You said, it's really a hick town, but people are nice. We moved in, neighbors brought a cake over. But and my wife loves to work with the women in school. So, okay. How about the labor force? He said, no service culture whatsoever, but that's good, we can teach them. Same questions. So, a year from now, what's your vision for your hotel? When will the hotel be? Oh, in a year from now, this city will be proud of our town. I tell you, we will show them, and they will be proud that we're here, and so on. Wow, good. See, same situation. One made a decision for excellence, the other one is just managing. Now the other one also managed very well the money and the processes. One is a leader, one is not. One saw his people. One could see it, said, so what does that mean? Being proud, that the whole city is proud. He said, okay, we'll use the restaurant. The big best functions will be in our hotel. I'm telling you, we're building a name. So I made it a point to study who are the leaders, who are the managers. Similar discussions everywhere. Very similar. Of course, not same, similar. After 3 years, I came to the conclusion of the 65 channel managers, there are 5 leaders and 60 managers. The managers made money. So the managers make a decision like, the leader said, gee, I'm going to have the piano playing in the afternoon, so that people come for tea, so we create a great image. Once we have a great image, we get more occupancy, we can charge a little more, but that takes long. The manager says, why have a piano? Why have so many flowers here? Let's take them away, and we make more money, and I get applauded in the corporate office. That's how business works. Excellent businesses concentrate on keeping the customer. Excellent businesses make sure that every employee knows that their responsibility number 1 is by everything they do to keep these customers and make sure these customers talk positive about the company. Because in that moment they're talking about every individual of this company. If you like it or not, you are defining yourself at work. If you're not defining yourself and you watch TV at home, you define yourself at work. To understand that is the first step to success. Good luck, everybody. Thank you very much.